This is a regular city council meeting of the City of Ocean Shores. It is June 11th, 2020, and the time is 6 p.m. The meeting is being held at the Ocean Shores Convention Center. The meetings are simulcast and archived on KOSW Radio. Meetings are live streamed with closed captioning and may be accessed on the city's website under council recordings. The meeting can be viewed on cable channel 68 Thursdays at 12 p.m. and Sundays at 10 a.m. Can we have a roll call, please?
Councilmember Sires.
Here.
Councilmember Taylor.
Here.
Councilmember Griebel.
Here.
Councilmember Klein.
Here.
Councilmember Scott.
Here.
Councilmember Wills.
Here.
Councilmember Hartman.
Here.
Mr. Wills, can you lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance?
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
We have a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the meeting agenda.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Thank you. We have no ceremonies or proclamations. Appointments, we have none. We have one vacancy on the Civil Service Commission, 2 vacancies on the Planning Commission, 1 vacancy on the Parks Board, and 1 vacancy on the Library Board of Trustees. We don't have any other reports. Next up, we have public communication. Public communication to council is intended for communication to the city council regarding general council business or policy not on tonight's agenda. Address comments and questions to the city council body, not to an individual member or to a city staff. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. We request that comments be nice and respectful. This is not a question and answer time, and the council cannot engage in conversation with the public. No person may use the public comment for the purpose of campaign or advertisement. The city council will begin the time once the citizen has started their public comment. At 2 minutes, they will see a green light followed by a yellow light with 30 seconds remaining of the public comment period. The red light will notify the reader that the public comment time has ended. Order of public comments will be first individuals attending in person. Second will be individuals attending remotely. 3, general public comments, whether in person or remotely, will continue in the usual position on the agenda. So who do we have, Scott?
All right. Good evening, Mayor and Council. We have 4 comments for the evening. The first is Susan Wright, current events at the CIC.
Over there with the podium.
Good evening. I'm Susan Wright, from a board member of the Coastal Interpretive Center. Thank you. I want to thank you very much for your support. The Coastal Center now is open 7 days a week from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Thank you. We offer our summer hour. Well, I'm sorry. We offer summer tours. This is a tourism service coordinated with local hospitality and hotel coalition. Community tours are available to sign up at the Coastal Interpretive Center website, and custom group tours are available. On next Tuesday, June 18th, we'll be sending out information on our website about our annual event, Going Coastal, which will be a dinner auction. We hope to see city council members at the event as we recognize our volunteers and partners. This event is scheduled to take place October 5th at the Oi Hut Event Center. Behind the scenes, the school year is running down, but we have hosted fun and educational field trips for children from Osher Shores, Aberdeen, Hoquiam, and Elma. These field trips are the result of staff working hard with partners from Greater Grays Harbor, and Westport. Staff is hard at work now at planning in-school and field trip educational programs for all ages for the 24-25 school year. Thank you again for your support.
Thank you.
Lillian Broadbent, Liability and Safety, Hearing, and Item 6.
Good evening. What a lovely night. I have a serious concern. First, I want to say thank you to the park board and all that they did at Chinook Park. It is a wonderful facility, and it appears to be being well used. I pass it several times a day. I do have one concern, however, though. The swing that was intended to be for wheelchairs is, I believe, a huge liability for our city. And no wheelchair can get on or off it because I can't get more than about 2 feet into the enclosure. Because anyone who's unsteady on their feet, I didn't even try to take my walker in there because I know that you can't roll on loose whatever it is that's there. The other concern that I have, and I have taken pictures, within the first few hours that was open, every kid in town, well, I don't know whether it was every kid in town, but a whole bunch of children learned that they could get in there and play on it. And they take advantage of that. I've seen as many as 5 kids on that swing. Now, coming in today, I noticed that it is folded up. That first weekend, somebody figured out how to unfold it, and the chains were flapping. That will happen again. I am concerned that it can't be used for the intended purpose, and that there is going to be an injury, either from the chains or from the sheet metal itself. The little fence is no deterrent to any. In fact, I think I saw a little 6-year-old girl that couldn't operate the gate that just hopped the fence. It's out there, and I am concerned, as are others who have gone and looked at it. The other things that I had on there are a result of the last council meeting, where an item was removed from the agenda, but several people had signed up to talk to it during public comment and were allowed to do that. And when I asked about it in another meeting, I was informed that that's standard practice. So from now on, I will sign in for every comment, every item I wish to speak to. Thank you.
Gina Rawlings, to be determined.
Good evening, Council, Mayor. Thank you for the opportunity to speak. And I think that previous comment was suggested about me. And what I do is I do sign up on the sheet because there's been times when I have not gotten to speak on something that I wanted to. And so I know, and I take it for granted, that Scott or the mayor will say something to me that it will be addressed later on in the meeting, just because it's happened before. So it's not a plot to overthrow the government. It is not an opportunity for me to be playing chess and trying to get a comment in. It's just how I did it. So If that's wrong, I apologize, but that's how I've been able to speak in the past. And I think what we said last week, our last council meeting, was important to be said. And I thank you for the opportunity to say it. Thanks.
And lastly, Jane Shattuck, Community.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. Jane Shattuck, Ocean Shores resident. I just wanted to talk about the multiple things that have been going on in the community and what wonderful things we have going here with the community coming together. The Flag Day Parade, the Elks putting that on, that was just the most recent. All the participants that took the time and energy to participate in the parade. From all the volunteers, I talk about this all the time. I've talked about the kennel quite a bit, but you have the Defenders of the Coast, you have the Beautification Committee, you have the Community Engagement Committee. We now have the city market that's going on. We have all the cleanups that are going on. We have the green waste composting now. We have oil recycling coming. But the Pocket Park, if anybody's interested, tomorrow the Pocket Park will be getting more beautification with plantings in there. Welcome everybody to show up and look at that. The completion of the sidewalk by the Shiloh to help with ADA. There is so many good things going on in this community that I am just so happy to see everybody coming together. As far as I keep hearing little snippets here and there about this wheelchair swing. And I just want to say, we really need to celebrate these strides we make. It is something new. It is not complete. As with anything from the skate park that was put in to other little things, they're works in progress. But I think when we bring all of these things together, especially with what we're trying to do with ADA in this community and making it accessible to everybody, that it needs to be celebrated. As far as one comment, about children and the playground and the swing, I don't know if you've been to a playground. I know many of you on the board work at schools, things like that, but children don't always follow rules on regular playground equipment. So, I have faith in the city making it safe as possible, but you see children standing on swings, jumping off of things they shouldn't and everything. It's something that just happens. And again, I want to see little milestones like this celebrated and see what we can do to even enhance things like that more. There were things that someone brought up to me today about sensory boards and things like that. And I think it would be great to even add that around the wheelchair area and enhance that area even more for everybody to enjoy and everybody to come together. But once again, I thank all the volunteers in this town and the city for what they're trying to do to make strides forward for our whole community. Thank you very much.
That concludes public comment.
All right, now we go to staff report, and first up is Scott Anderson.
Good evening again, Mayor and Council and citizens. City Administrator report. We'll start with an erosion meeting that we had. The City of Ocean Shores and the City of Westport held meetings with FEMA yesterday to discuss joint approaches to erosion mitigation. The cities of Westport and Ocean Shores share many commonalities regarding erosion at the mouth of Grays Harbor, and we are more likely to be successful in obtaining state and federal funding by working together. The cities are going to be working with FEMA through an instrument called the Cooperating Technical Partners Program. This is a mechanism that allows localities to collaborate on issues relating to flood hazards, erosion, and coastal mapping. The meeting yesterday involved the mayors of Westport and Ocean Shores, the city administrators of Westport and Ocean Shores, representatives of FEMA, and was chaired by John Shaw of the Maritime Resources Council. The city continues to make both short-term emergency measures, the cobble berm at Marine View Drive, and long-term measures, the repair of the remnant jetty, a priority. The city has received 2 RFQs for permitting and engineering design for the cobble berm at the bay. I should say, actually, no. We received 4 RFQs in total. We've awarded the winners of that process, Anchor QEA was selected to facilitate the permitting with the Department of Ecology, and Mott McDonald was selected to design the dynamic revetment structure, which will eventually protect our shoreline. We have also applied for a CTP grant of between $150,000 and $170,000. FEMA has told us that that money will be earmarked with it, but will not be able to expense it for this part of the project, but will be able to expense it later. And one of the things we are thinking about expensing it on when pulling this together with Westport is to do a study of what will happen erosion-wise if we repair the remnant jetty and the consequences of if we don't, because it could be mutually beneficial, both the city of the Ocean Shores and our residents and our infrastructure, but also for the port itself. So that's what we are looking at doing. Other news, drought emergency alert. The Washington State Department of Ecology has declared a drought emergency for a majority of the state as a result of little snowfall in the mountains this year. And as a result of that, water departments are being asked across the state to conserve water resources. And for that, in the city of Ocean Shores, we are putting hydrant flushing on hold after consultation with our water and fire departments. So the city of Ocean Shores Water Department has temporarily halted all hydrant flushing activities. This measure will be in effect until April 15th or in April 15th, 2025, or until the state mitigates or eliminates the drought response. Ocean Shore staff will continue to closely monitor conditions and stay updated on releases from ecology. And for more information about water conservation, I have some things that we will post on the city website. An update from Fish and Wildlife, and this is my collaboration in part with Scott Harris. And we've been talking about some things, but 2 fawns of a mother deer that was killed in a vehicle. The fawns were not killed, the mother deer was killed in a vehicle accident. They were successfully captured and rescued by Fish and Wildlife in Ocean Shores. I'm happy to say they are recovering at Center Valley Animal Rescue. But I've been asked to give this message from the Department of Fish and Wildlife. Please do not assume that fawns have been abandoned if you see them. And do not feed them milk or food. A fawn recently became sick and died after repeated feedings of milk, non-deer milk in Westport. So do not leave milk out for them. Unfortunately, one of them died in Westport as a result of that. There are laws on who can rescue wildlife. Please keep this in mind. Wildlife should not be rescued unless instructed by the Department of Fish and Wildlife or a licensed rehabber. A person who finds the animals needs to contact Fish and Wildlife. Posting this on social media is not advised, as people claim they are licensed when they are not, and Fish and Wildlife is seeing a plethora of incidents like that. I have a lot more information that I'm not going to read because it would take quite a while to do so, but it will be available online on who to contact, how to contact them, and the emergency number. It's important when you call the emergency number for this that you leave them a message. They don't always get to their phone. It's one of those situations. Don't hang up. Leave the message, and then they will be quick to respond to it. I am also reminded by Scott Harris at Fish and Wildlife that Ocean Shores is blessed with a highly professional and responsive police force, which I think all of our residents know. And many of the officers are highly experienced in helping some injured wildlife on issues. If in doubt and you're truly concerned and cannot get a hold of Fish and Wildlife, you can always call the Ocean Shores Police Department for advice. I'll skip the sand sale, or I'll just make it quickly. Tomorrow is the last day to buy sand on our 2-day sand sale. So I'll say that. And then lastly tonight, I will say time flies as it is June 11th. And 5 years ago this evening, I started my job as city administrator. So if you wonder how long I've been here, it has been exactly 5 years this evening. And it has actually been a great pleasure. And I enjoy serving the citizens of Ocean Shores every day. So thank you.
All right, thanks, Scott. Now for council liaison reports and committee reports. And Lisa, can you start us off?
Thank you, Mayor. Just a reminder, the library board meeting is tomorrow at 3 o'clock. Please attend, or you can Zoom.
All right, Rich.
I did a walk with the mayor and Becky on some of our buildings to start evaluating the capital facility plan that we are working through.
All right, Denise.
I signed warrants. I attended agenda review, and I have something that I'd like to read from the radio board. And that was yesterday and today, KOSW successfully participated in an emergency exercise with the FCC's Public Safety and Homeland Security Bureau in a voluntary test of their disaster information reporting system called DIRS. In a true disaster, the DIRS online reporting system brings local situational awareness to government agencies involved in communication recovery efforts. DIRS then links with U.S. military and other federal resources to bring in emergency power generators, fuel supplies, temporary towers, and other emergency-related items needed to help maintain or restore broadcast cable, wireless, and cellular carriers. So thank you to our radio board for following up and participating in this, because they really are critical in any kind of emergency.
Right, thanks. Lisa Scott.
Thank you. I signed warrants as well and attended agenda setting. Not much on the committee reports. We will have a meeting with Council of Governments on June 20th, as well as our Public Works Committee. So at the next council meeting, I will report on those. Thank you.
Right, thanks. Allison.
I had no committee meetings. Next week I have Finance and Public Works, and we'll report on those at our next council meeting.
Thanks. Tom.
I attended agenda review, and my other two were canceled last month, so we didn't have those.
All right, Richard.
Thank you. So I had no liaison committee actions since the last council meeting, so I don't have anything to report. However, there is a Parks Board meeting tomorrow.
All right, thanks. Mayor's report. As everybody knows, there was a plane crash, I'm sure, on Saturday, and although not much can be said by the city about this because it's under investigation, I do want to say that our fire department and police department did an outstanding job in this rescue. I can tell you, after watching that go on there, we are in good hands. So the public needs to feel confident. If we ever have any issues, we have first responders that are outstanding. Flag Day Parade, we would like to give a special thanks to our local Elks chapter for their outstanding coordination of the annual Flag Day Parade here last Saturday. And there were some great bands, some awesome cars. There was like 40 of the little Mini Coopers. That was interesting to see go through there. So there was a good number of spectators there, and I believe it was the largest parade that they've ever had. They had over 70 entries for that. Oil recycling, that continues. We started last Wednesday with that. It'll be Wednesday from 12 to 3, and you can do the drop-off there at the Public Works Yard, and that is right near the entrance there at Ocean Lake Way when you come in there. And we encourage everybody to use that. It's been a long time since we've had something like that, and we're hoping that it's well used. I think we had 8 or 10 people use it last Wednesday, and we don't want people dumping their oil out in the ground anyway, or in their neighbor's lot or whatever. But all right, City Market. I don't know if anybody's gone to the City Market here last Saturday, but they added 2 or 3 more vendors, and they've got more coming here next Saturday. So stop by and check that out. The Community Engagement Committee is doing an outstanding job with that, and I just want to say thank you to them. They've really got this thing rolling right now. Best of the Sound is a magazine, and I want to say congratulations to Ocean Shores for being voted the best Northwest family vacation location by the South Sound readers. And that's for 2024. It's a prestigious award and is a testament to the commitment of providing exceptional experiences for our families visiting in this area. And we're continuing to work on that. On May 22nd, 2024, at the LeMay America's Car Museum there in Tacoma, right off the freeway there, George Lee, the Convention Center GM, and Sarah Logan, our city clerk, proudly accepted this recognition on behalf of the Ocean Shores. And it was a well-deserved honor for a lot of hard work. And that includes our businesses and our community leaders for that award. Town Hall will be on June 26th coming up, and Zoom will be available. We probably will have the topic out maybe by the end of this week, it looks like, for everybody, so check the city calendar for that. And the Sand and Sawdust, as you know, is the last weekend here in June, so it'll be on the 28th, 29th, and 30th. And come out and see the chainsaw carvings and the professional sand art that goes on there. It's pretty awesome event that we have every year. So that concludes my report.
Like to make a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thanks. All right, we will recess this regular city council meeting at, let's say, 6:26, to convene into a public hearing. This public hearing is before the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, to hear public testimony for or against the proposed amendment to the 6-year Transportation Improvement Program 2030. This will be presented by our project manager, Becky Leach. Thank you, Becky.
Thank you. Quick informational what this is, and then open it up for comment, and I will take notes if we have any public comment, and then later on in the meeting, it will also be opened up for council discussion of the resolution. So there are two different things with this. There is a STIP, which is the State Transportation Improvement Plan, and the TIP, which is basically our Transportation Improvement Plan. And every year, each agency, which the City of Ocean Shores is the agency, makes a TIP, a Transportation Improvement Plan, which covers 6 years. We update it every year, which is what we're doing right now. It's due July 1st. That includes any projects that are actively being worked on and already have funding secured, which would have been like the High Dunes Trail that we had. You'll see that that's currently been removed if you looked at the one that was presented for the meeting agenda, or projects that we plan to apply for funding, future sidewalks, as well as any other projects that City Council or the Mayor would like to include as part of our planning process, since the TIP does have to get submitted to the state. So in reality, TIP is a planning document for us, but when it gets approved by council in the resolution and goes forward, it becomes a STIP document for the state. And to get federal highway funding for transportation projects, the projects have to be on the state approved STIP. So all of that being said, if something isn't on there, every third Friday of the month, we can still make amendments to the TIP and submit them. That was a question that I had gotten. So if we miss this opportunity before July 1st, we are still able to make updates throughout the year with an official amendment and turn those in. Projects must be related to the following elements within transportation: highways, streets, roads, railroads, transit hubs, park and ride lots, bridges, sidewalks, bike lanes, ferry terminals, trails, and safety projects related within any of those items. So you can think of it as a wish list. If you were able to look at the items that are on the list, one of the things that's been on there, I think, for a bunch of years is the potential, the ferry between here and Westport. And I know that was an item last year that there was some debate over. Leave it on, it would be amazing to have. And other people were like, that's a pipe dream, it's never going to happen, take it off. The thing about this document is we'll never get federal funding for it if it's not on the document. So that's how to really think of this document. It's a great wish list. So
all of that being said, public comment.
Jan Hyatt, Ocean Shores. Thank you, Becky. Okay, Jan Hyatt, Ocean Shores still. And thank you, Becky. I guess I'm not understanding for some reason. So if it's on this wish list, as you said, I had the Westport Ferry Service, $2,185,500. Is that what the city is looking to obtain, or is that what the city thinks it will cost to start the ferry system? The ferry system to me is a dream. It's a continual expanse. It would be better if we used a hovercraft, I believe is the word. Hovercraft. It would be much less expensive, carry people back and forth. If we do this ferry, does the state own it? Does the city own it? Who's insuring it? Where is it stored? Employees? How many months is it going to run? To me, it is a wish list. So I hope that the council will consider that possibly some of these items should be removed. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? Yes, Lillian.
Excuse me. In reviewing this, I noticed that number 18 still refers to a Chamber of Commerce connection. And I think we probably want to either reword that or include, if the traffic count and the foot count warrants it, that should be part of our downtown planning, because certainly IGA and that building across from it are part of our downtown. The other item that I didn't see on there, and I think there's good reason to put it on, we're going to have jetty repairs sometime in the next couple of years, we hope. And that's going to tear up, history proves us, it's going to tear up, in this case, I think, East Ocean Shores Boulevard and West Ocean Shores Boulevard. And I think we ought to have an item there that allows us to go after specific funding to repair any damage that's done with the big trucks. Now, East Ocean Shores Boulevard is already in sad shape, and it's definitely going to need rehab. So I'd like to see that added. Other than that, thank you very much.
We have any other comments? All right. Well, we will close the public hearing and reconvene with our regular city council meeting at, let's say, 6:36. We have no old business, new business. We have an ordinance of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores amending certain sections of the purchasing policy of the Ocean Shores as codified in Municipal Code Chapter 3.20 and amending sections of the ordinance number 1049, ordinance number 864, ordinance number 805, and ordinance number 37. And this will be presented by Sarah Logan.
Good evening. So I came in right at the middle of this. This is interesting because we try not to do things this way with all of you, where we try to way earlier, like Councilmember Hartman's thing. However, the training and the changes just ended about a week and a half ago. So right before we were getting the agenda done, we were getting all of the things that had to be changed. And with that, we started kind of digging into the background and why they were changing these specific things. So I wrote a little summary to just like kind of summarize for everybody what we're doing to the purchasing policy. The purchasing policy was brought before council in 2019. Since then, required addendums needed to be made that were cited by the Washington State Auditor's Office, such as federal award requirements and change order processes. So just a little breakaway from that, when the auditors have come in, they've looked at our purchasing policy and certain projects that we've done. We haven't had certain language. They require us to write an addendum, and then they check that the following year. So those addendums have never been formally adopted by the city council, so that's one of the things that's happening in this document. In addition, legislation had begun work on changes to threshold based on 30 years and processes related to procurement of goods and public works limits in 2003 or 2023. That's the second time I've done that. A significant change to this policy was to remove the limited works process, where we only sent things to 3 contractors. They did away with that completely in certain sections. Also, legislators made changes and created additional administrative efficiencies, transparencies, and encouraged certified small businesses with the Office of Minority and Women Business Enterprise, OMWBE, to join the municipality's small work roster. So going into that a little bit, it was kind of how we have our contractors that constantly bid on things or are constantly picked off of our small works roster. Legislation really focused on giving these minority group businesses, contractors, the ability to learn about these projects and be added to our small works roster. Economically, we have seen an approximate 22% in inflation on costs since the policy's update in 2019, which drastically impacts the margin in terms of project costs. The state, recognizing this, had increased the thresholds for materials, supplies, equipment, and public works projects. It is the city's position to stay below those thresholds, however, still elevate the maximum allowable amount to match current practices. So what we did, and it's in all of your guys' binders tonight, and I wish we would have done it faster so that the citizens could see also, but we'll put it in the amended agenda. There's a breakdown of each of the sections that are under that matrix that show the levels, because I saw a little bit of, we're letting the mayor make all the choices. So I thought I'd go through some of these just as an example. So from material, supplies, and equipment, the old limits, or the current limits right now, are $7,500 for us, the state or the city. The state has raised that limit to $30,000. We recommended putting it at least $15,000 due to inflation, product costs, those kinds of things. Vendor list processes, the places that we will do 3 quotes bid process, the current limit, $7,500 to $15,000. State law or limits now allow $40,000 to $50,000. We requested an update to $15,000 to $30,000. And so all of those are outlined. We do have this on as a second reading. I would love to add this the second go around so that the citizens can see exactly what's being updated by legislation, but what the actual requests were. So we can turn it over to public comment.
Do we have any public comment? Yes, Lillian.
I absolutely agree with bringing this current with state requirements. However, we are a very small city and our income isn't going up. There is no appreciable uptick in taxes. There's no appreciable uptick in anything at the moment. Our revenues are rather flat. And based on that, we've not had a great call in the last, I'd say, 5 years, maybe 6 years, to continually have to approve small amounts for the council. But I think it's important right now that the council monitor everything that's happening. And when we have the limits that are set, and particularly the bumping up the $30,000, the change order number, to me is something that should come before council. Now, you've gotten used to, with Crystal and John both, lots of things came back to council that didn't have to. But we had very experienced people all the way through, and we don't anymore. And I think it's incumbent on council to take a look at these things, and if it becomes cumbersome, then by all means, go ahead and change it. But at this point, we haven't had one this year, have we? I think that it's unnecessary at this time, and probably counter to what needs to happen to keep our city in line. Thank you.
Do we have any other public comments? All right. Do council questions and discussion? Anybody have anything they'd like to ask or say? Oh. Allison, go ahead.
I appreciate all the work you've put into this. I know when I was reading through it, it was like mind blown. So many numbers and so many facts and so many changes and all. Would it be possible, and I may be the only person on council that didn't get it all or understand it all, to possibly do either a work session, or if there are 2 or 3 of us that need more clarification just for understanding, that we could meet with you and go through some of this and have you explain more in depth for us before the second reading?
Yeah, so we have Finance Committee on Tuesday the 18th, I believe it is, which is prior to the agenda going out. We would be more than happy to bring it to Finance Committee, which is particularly the interest. So,
okay, thanks.
Yes, Denise?
Yeah, I do have a comment, having dealt with the purchasing policies for a long time in my career. I'm very happy to see the increased amounts. I know that even 8 years ago when I was working, following what was current at that time was very, very difficult. I also totally agree with the change orders. I know that when you are working on a project, particularly any kind of construction, time is an essence. So getting your change orders done, obviously within the approved budget, as quickly as possible is really critical.
yeah, not something particularly to go over in a Finance Committee when we have a lot of time, but these are budgeted items. It's not just we go out unintelligently and spend money. These are things that are budgeted, brought in front of the council already. It's that we're ready to execute those projects at that time or purchases. So, yeah.
Any other comments or questions? All right. Thank you. Next up, we got a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, presenting the revised and extended 6-year transportation improvement program for the calendar years of 2025 and 2030. That's presented by Becky Leach.
Hey, good evening, everybody, again. And I wanted to say happy anniversary, Scott, when I was up here before and I forgot. Okay, so I'm going to present the resolution request and then we'll talk through it, and I am absolutely prepared to bring this back for a second reading as well, and by no means expecting this to pass today. So the subject is a resolution adopting the 6-year transportation improvement program for 2025 to 2030. The attachments that were provided that came out, was the actual 6-year summary, and the 6-year transportation improvement program is an annual update of proposed transportation projects over the next 6 years. The STIP is a statutorily required document to be adopted by resolution prior to July 1st every year. and in accordance with RCW 3577010, a public hearing was held on June 11th, 2024, where public input was sought on the 2025 to 2030 STIP. So what questions does council have?
We have public comment next.
Oh, we do public comment again.
Is there a public comment? All right, now we can go to council. Yes, Lisa.
Thank you. So first off, I know that some of the questions that have come in are the numbering. And I know that that is just there. It's not the number one priority. It's just the numbering of how it's added into the STIP, because this, what I understand is updating it at the state level could be quite complicated if you wanted to prioritize within your own. So those numbers are just there. They're not the city's number one priority.
Correct. There's no priority order on the list that we have.
And the second thing I'd like to see added to this list,
Yeah.
because I believe we talked about it. For some reason, I think it was when we did the town hall and we were talking about the speed reduction measures, the speed humps and whatnot. And that is, I would really like to see us have the roundabout put on here for Ocean Shores Boulevard in Chance Alameda, the approach there, that four-way stop. I'd like to see that on there. I think that is a hazard. People aren't knowing what to do once they reach the middle of that, and I think a roundabout would be a really good addition there. Also, we won't have a reduction in lanes like we see on Chance as you go through in front of the IGA, and I know sometimes that can get a little complicated, but I would really like to see that added. Thank you.
All right, good idea. Yes, Richard Wills.
So in the past, when we discussed the STIP, the dollar amounts associated with each items were not the, and if I remember correctly, they were not the anticipated dollar amounts, but they were actually just placeholders. Is that in fact still true?
It is. Yep, they are
And so
just
the $2 million
placeholders.
for the ferry is it's just an imaginary number, but we're on the STIP, and that's what we need.
That's exactly correct.
Thank you.
All right, thanks, Richard. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Scott.
Yeah, I just have one to address the question of the roads that will indefinitely be damaged as a result of the construction of the jetty. I have been in meetings with them, and they have said, the Army Corps of Engineers says they will pay for any damage that is done to our roads. It will not have to come out of city funding, but that is just what they have told me in meetings. I do not have that in writing from them, but I will work to get that in writing from them.
All right, thanks, Scott. Yes, go ahead, Richard.
So this is a question for you, Scott, and does that, in order to know the damage, are we going to do something to assess what the roads look like before the trucks start using the road so that we have a yardstick? This is what the damage is.
Fortunately, we've already begun that yardstick, and that's the whole work we've been done with the Holmes contractors who've gone down and marked all of our streets. So, we've just done a complete road survey that we'll be getting back. So we will have that data already. And I don't know if we have time to run it again before anything like that, Becky.
The Corps will also do their own data, and the two options that we talked about the last time we met with the Corps was them doing the repair work themselves or them getting an estimate on the repair work costs, giving us the money, and then we do the project. I say if they do that, we get our own estimate as well to make sure that we like the estimate that they give us. So those are the conversations that we've had with the Corps as far as how the road will get repaired.
Good answers, both. Thank you.
Any other questions or comments? All right, I guess we will bring this back next meeting.
Okay, sounds good. You're welcome. See you in 5 minutes.
So next we got a resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, establishing a schedule of rates and fees for building permits, and that is going to be presented by our building official, Roy Simmons.
Okay, so continuance of, well, the last time I came to speak with you, so, actually putting specific numbers to certain things, and that's that schedule that you have. There is a number that's not in this, and that number will take place once I've met with Sarah and we go over what my expenses were for the previous year, and then I can take I already have the data on the footage and the valuations, and I divide, you run the math on that, and that gives me my dollars per square foot for each type of construction that's going into this building. So with these ones here, again, I had demonstrated and shown that there was a state recommended amount where they're saying, these are what the state recommends, and we're well below that, but we're still at a respectable number. I didn't want to ramp this thing up and have people that just got permits, because a lot of guys are building the same houses, and have that price be. But these numbers are very fair, and I ran an audit of seem to be kind of riding right down the middle there. But again, we're not charging people for a $10 fee to have two sewer workers go out and turn a camping sewer connection into a house connection. We actually have to cover the truck costs and the labor costs. So a lot of these fees and numbers in here reflect what I believe the actual cost is, and the manpower, and talking with Melissa and getting some what the wages are, where we're at with that. So, but again, these are the solid numbers that I do know and that I do have. But again, I'll work with Sarah on that, and we'll come up with a real number.
All right. Do we have any public comment? Yes, Jane.
I just want to say thank you for bringing the comparisons too. You hear little bits and pieces here about how our fees are so high, and so I love that this comparison is added, because our fees are not that high, and we do need to be self-sufficient. So I'm glad that was added to it for everybody to view, because there's been a lot of misinformation put out there about our fees. So thank you for bringing that forward, Roy.
Do we have any other public comment? All right, council questions? Yes, Lisa Scott.
I'd just like to say thank you very much. It's exactly what I was looking for, and hopefully this will make it easier for you in the years that you do need to make those adjustments. So I just really thank you for doing that work.
No, thank you for the opportunities.
Any other questions or comments from the council? Yes, Lisa.
I'd like to make a motion to approve the resolution of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, establishing a schedule of rates and fees for building permits.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Can I clarify the second, please? Thank you.
All right, we have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores, Washington, awarding the Convention Center soffit repainting project to Purcell Painting, and that'll be presented by project manager Becky Leach.
Good evening, everybody. I have a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores to award the Convention Center eaves and soffit repainting work to Purcell Painting. The budget for this project is approved at $800,000. Already approved by council costs are $39,600, leaving a remaining budget of $760,400. That already approved cost is for engineering by Gray and Osborne. Purcell Painting was low bid for this project at $534,590. So I'm asking for council to award the project work to Purcell for the bid price of $534,590. This will leave an expected $225,810 in in the budget. I did have just a little bit more background, a couple questions from a council member this week. And a couple of questions. How can we guarantee that we aren't going to be repainting? This is a great question. How do we know we're not going to be repainting again in 5 or 6 years? And it's the kind of thing where you can't get, a 50-year roof on a house, but you can get a 20 or a 30-year roof on a house. And so I reached out and I pressed a little bit about what are we really expecting with this? I know we're getting the best high-end paint. There's 2 choices for the specs, but what can we really expect? And we can expect a 20-year paint job on the eaves for the convention center, which I think is pretty phenomenal. So we should not be expecting to paint every 5 or 6 years. And then also, I got an answer to the question, how are they going to get into the nooks and crannies and areas where you really can't get into the rust without tearing things apart that we aren't going to be able to tear into? We're going to be able to, the contractors, are going to be able to replace some of the panels that are damaged, but they really aren't going to be able to pull things apart where you see the blue posts come down, because those are also going to be sandblasted and recoated and repainted. There's going to be a layer of primer, but then there's also 4 or 5 other layers of paint before the semi-gloss goes on at the end. It's not just primer and paint going on. So I talked to the actual contractor. I talked to Purcell today, not just the engineers, and they're going to use gun grinders and bristle guns and a lot of different tools, not just sandblasting, to get in there and actually take care of the damage that has been done to get down to the base level. So I feel really good and confident with this contractor. They come highly recommended. So I feel even better presenting this bid. So thank you for those questions.
Do we have any public comment? All right, council, questions or comments? Yes, Richard.
So one of the terms that I saw that I think I know what means is scarify or scarify. Could you clarify what that actually means?
I don't know what scarify means, and I can find out and let you know.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Yes, Allison.
So I'd like to go ahead and make a motion to approve a request of the City Council of the City of Ocean Shores to award the Convention Center eaves soffit repainting work to Purcell Painting.
Second.
We have a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you.
Thank you.
All right, we have no discussion and no executive session tonight. Agenda review will be Lisa Scott, Rich Hartman, and Allison Klein, and that will be June 13th at 9 a.m. via Zoom. And next we have go to the order. And Lisa, would you like to start that up?
I'm going to pass. Thanks.
Rich.
I have nothing.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention Defenders of the Coast again. They gave a presentation at, CJ gave a presentation at the Friends of the Library, which was really well received, actually on the recommendation of Jane Shattuck. And the Friends of the Library are having community leaders and community groups come to their monthly meeting, and it's really a way of one community group connecting to another community group. So great idea there, and lots of attendance at those meetings.
Lisa Scott.
Thank you. Just always a big shout out to all the volunteers that make everything possible, because without you, we wouldn't be who we are. The other thing is we did receive a written public comment today regarding the memory garden. And I think that maybe having that, if the mayor would be so kind to move that to maybe the Parks Board for further discussion and maybe a recommendation, that would be great. Thank you.
Allison.
City Market is wonderful. I've been able to go and get fresh fruit and vegetables every weekend, which my husband loves. And then also the Kite Festival. A huge thank you to Rick Beveridge for putting that on. Lisa and I got to go out and judge the lighted kites at night. It was absolutely amazing. I had never seen anything like it. And hopefully next year and years after, it's just going to get bigger and bigger. A big thing that people ask about, well, let's have the lighted kites both nights. So hopefully Rick may take that into consideration and do it next year. But yeah, definitely next year, plan on getting out there and participating and watching it because it is amazing.
Yeah, thanks for that, Allison. Tom?
I just want to have people think about the victims of the crashed airplane. It was a pretty serious crash, so let's keep them in our thoughts and stuff, and hopefully they both recover fully.
All right, thanks. Richard?
So a shout out to the Elks Club for the Flag Day Parade. It was an awesome event. I had the great pleasure of being a participant in the newly formed Square Dancing Club, who we marched and performed in the parade. Ton of fun, and I encourage all of you, try square dancing when we come up with new classes in the fall. If you can walk, you can square dance, and if you can walk in time to the music, that's a plus, but not necessary.
All right. Thanks, Richard. Can I get somebody to adjourn? All right, we are adjourned.